Hey everyone, it's Ryan Adams here from naturalweightlossmastery.com. Story time today then with an important lesson at the end. But first, because I know somebody's going to ask in the comments like, Ryan, it looks like you've moved again. Where are you? Where are you? This is my new apartment. I'm here for a little while in the city of Bath. Beautiful city in the southwest of the UK. Highly recommend. Just been here for a couple of days so far, but really loving it at the moment. Anyway, I knew somebody was going to ask. Back to our story. I look back to my YouTube videos, certainly of several years ago with the inception of this channel, but frankly up to as little as 4 weeks ago, and I cringe in some of them. Why? Because I'm not happy with the lighting or the way I got across a certain point, maybe the vocabulary I use, maybe my incessant rambling at times. Maybe I think, oh, you could have got that point across a little bit more concisely, Ryan. Then there are times where I think I'm too concise and I don't fairly explain the nuances and the caveats of a certain discussion, a certain debate. So this is what I do all the time with videos that I literally filmed just a couple of weeks ago, okay? Now you might be thinking, hold on Ryan, how on earth does this translate to all this weight loss stuff? How is any of this ranting going to be beneficial to me? Well, because even with my weight loss journey, same thing, right? I look back to various periods and think, oh my goodness, why did I spend so many years or months doing this particular strategy or following this particular tactic? Or had I known back then, what I now know today, I mean, this is all with hindsight, of course, I could have lost weight so much more quickly, so much more efficiently, saved myself so much trouble, put in more effort with XY workouts, or started doing cardio when I was doing all that weight training for years, doing a bit of cardio too. That would have sped things up. Do you know what I mean? We do all of this stuff, don't we? We look back and we think, oh my goodness, it's littered with mistakes. And of course that's valuable because you learn from these things. But I think what I have to say to you today is you have to let go of these things at a certain point. So for example, with my YouTube channel, if I held on to, the fact I use certain vocabulary, or the fact that I thought the lighting was off in a video, or I spoke funny in a video, or I ranted too much in a video, etc., etc. If I held that in my heart, I would create a bit of a glass ceiling for myself, because truly, I don't think I would feel like I deserve to have a bigger YouTube channel, to grow a bigger audience, to get my message out there, to be a coach. Does that make any kind of sense? So with weight loss, when you focus on all of the things you feel bad about or guilty about, all those mistakes of the past, what you do, I find, is subcommunicate to yourself that you're not actually worthy of that much success, because look at all these mistakes, right? When we feel guilty about all the things we've done wrong, we don't necessarily feel all that entitled to success. It's very natural to do so. And so that's what I mean by glass ceiling. We almost create this limiting point for ourselves that we can't push through. And so with my YouTube channel, if I dwelled on any of those things, if I looked at those videos from 4 weeks ago, 4 months ago, or 2 years ago and thought, oh Ryan, you're terrible, you're a joke of a YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. And not that those things cross my mind, I'm definitely exaggerating there, but I do look back and be very, very cynical and critical of myself. But if I really held those things in my heart and never let them go, I'd never make another YouTube video. I wouldn't be doing this today. I wouldn't be admitting all of this, right? Because I'd be so embarrassed or feel so much like I don't deserve to be a decent YouTuber that I wouldn't even try to keep it going. Exactly the same with weight loss, okay? Exactly the same with weight loss. And some people will hear this message and they'll think, hold on, Ryan, you're just being insecure there, you're being too self-judgmental, etc., etc. Not true. I totally disagree. In fact, I think if you're not looking back and cringing at what you did in the past, you're not growing at all. This is a natural part of progression, of progressing with things, of growth, as I say. So yeah, I think we should all look back or we all will naturally look back at things that we were struggling with in the past and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe I used to do that. I can't believe I was doing it like this. Or maybe we look back at an old Instagram post and think, what was I thinking doing that pose or posting that photo? This is in every area of life, not just this health and weight loss stuff. But again, if you dwell on that too much, you can never really excel because you subcommunicate once again that you're not deserving of this stuff. Really, really important. Really, really important. So how does that relate to you right now? Well, you have to forgive. You have to forget so that you can carry on and move on. Now, what's interesting about this message is, some people will pick up on maybe the argument that there's a contradiction here, because I've made it very clear that I find all this self-love 2021 rather stuff, I find it very, very tiresome now. I think it's gone way too far. And I think the solution to this is not self-beratement or self-loathing. I rather think this is a scale. Self-beratement, self-loathing at one end, self-love at the other. We don't want to be too far in any one direction. When you go too far in the self-love, you are at risk of denying your own inadequacies, which frankly I think a lot of people do nowadays. When you go too far in the other direction, you do exactly what I'm talking about here, where you sub-communicate to yourself that you're trash. You're worth nothing, you don't deserve success with anything because you talk so angrily about yourself. However, of course, there are times where going to one end of the scale is really beneficial depending on the scenario you're in. There's times where it's really important to be angry at yourself for mistakes you've made so you can elevate your standards, learn the lesson. You purposely give yourself a hard time because you know you should be doing better. And then that drives you back up the scale. Do you see what I mean? You're sort of bouncing between the two and it's very natural to do so. What you don't want is any homeostasis at one end of that spectrum too much. So this is just my view. This is just my view. You may disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. And so with what I'm saying here, I'm actually advising that you guys go to the self-love side just a little bit to forgive, forget, and move on. Be angry, yes, about the mistakes you made in the past. Feel guilty, yes, as I do sometimes when I look back on those YouTube videos, think, oh, damn, I could have done so much better. But then ultimately, just wipe the slate clean the next day so that you can start again, so you can keep advancing. Otherwise, it will stunt your own growth. Hopefully this makes sense. I know it's an abstract concept, but you do need to forgive and not feel guilty for the mistakes in the past. You do need to show yourself some mercy so that you can travel forward with some sense of entitlement of deserving of success. When you're always focused on your inadequacies, when your mistakes of the past, the bad cheat meal you had yesterday, when you hold on to those things, you show yourself that you never deserve success. You have to disprove that theory by earning the success, forgiving the mistakes, and just carrying on every day, patiently, consistently. You know my message at this stage. Anyway, hope this helps in some way. If you need some coaching from me, learn more at ryandoescoaching.com. Speak soon.